Hello and welcome to my build of the restoration of the Dinky Rover 75, and this one is a very battered example. I think it's also been buried for a couple of decades at least. And here we have, it came in a selection. There's an Austin Atlantic, a Morris Oxford, a Triumph 1800, and there's the Rover as it comes around, and also a BEV truck. I'm presuming it was British electrical vehicles. And there on the merry-go-round. The Triumph will probably be next from this lot, looking rather battered there. Anyway, here's the Rover we're starting with. It's beaten and battered and been buried. It looks like it's been on a bonfire, then buried. It looked like the bonnet had a shot from a pellet gun in the front of the bonnet there. It's been dug up with a garden fork. You can see where it's passed through the front and through the rear, then dug up. You can see the bending it's got from the garden fork. Anyway, we're outstripping it. Here we go. Into the multicoloured swap shop, back and down, to strip the paint. We're drilling out the rivets there. Unclipping the bottom, the base. And here we're hammering out to shape the actual body, getting it back into a near enough into shape, because it were bent on the bonnet roof. The rear window were burst out where the garden fork had gone through, and the roof were out of line to one side. And here we're banging it into across, and they're banging it back up. Getting the shape back to the front of the roof there. And there we're getting the side pillars straightened. And here we're just filing, you can see on the other side to where I'm filing now. There's a hole. It was a perfect circle where a pellet gun had been shot into the bonnet. And there we're filing off some of the mess the garden forks left. It's totally misshaped the window. Here the rear wheel arches were buckled as well. So I'm just knocking them into some sort of shape. Just cleaning up the areas where there I'm cleaning up the pellet gun hole. And bits where the casting was expanded with being buried for many years. And here I'm mixing up some JB weld to fill in the areas, filling in where the pellet gun hole was. Just filling in general, getting it back to a bit of shape. The rear window was always going to be the biggest problem. That took 2 or 3 times round filling. Also using supporting material to get the correct shape back into the window. Just filling a bit of a dent in the door there. And there we go, just levelling it off a bit. Once they've had this much damage, they're never perfect again, but it does turn out a nice finish if you keep on watching, it turns out rather splendid. Not perfect by any means, but it's a worthy addition to the show. And here I'm cleaning up the base, ready for using gun glue on it. At this point I was wire wheeling the wheels, get the rust off and the dirt and the oxidisation, get them to some degree clean again so I can use them again. And here we go, I'm polishing it here after the gun blue. The gun blue does lift rust to the surface after it's been applied, but it is, the blue is underneath the coating. And here I'm just rubbing, I've put some more JB weld on and I'm smoothing out with water, because it's only little thin layers of it. There we go, starting to get some shape into it. Gradually coming back. And at this point I'm polishing the rear wheel with some water salt, because I decided for this one, for a bit of extra show, I was gonna do chrome hubcaps. And there we go, we're just painting the rims cream. There we are, continuing painting the rims cream. And we're getting there gradually. Anyway, at this point I'm wire wheeling the areas that haven't been filled to clean the body up. I probably should have done it before I started the filling work for air hole. Anyway, here we are, starting with production paper, which is very rough sandpaper to knock it back to shape. Later on I transfer down to smoother stuff. Oh, excuse me. And there I just mark on the body what areas I want further work, like to square off the rear window, and it has up written on it, which means raise up the level of the filler because it's still a bit low in that area. And there's some wooden cocktail sticks put in there to hold the filler in a bit of shape while it dried. That's the second stage of filling. I still wasn't fully happy with the window shape, so it went on to a third level of filling. And there it is on the third level, with paper inside to hold the filler. And I also mixed baking powder, baking soda, whatever it is, into the JB weld. It just makes it thicker to hold shape better. Then it was finally primed and into paint. and I did a few finishing touches on it afterwards. But there we are, going into paint. I picked do it as the green version. I could have distracted the eye and done it in the blue and green version and make the body faults less obvious. And here we are, knocking the axle back so the wheel stays on and giving it some new boots. Some new boots, governor. And there we go, wheels looking very nice. And at this point we screw back together. And this casting, it was the actual car were released 1951, 52 I think it was. So bearing in mind that model companies used to be pretty on the ball and have one released soon after, or about the same time, it dates this casting to the early 50s. I wouldn't date it into the 60s, but certainly early 50s. Anyway, here's where we started. The very beaten and battered Rover 75 from Dinky. And here's where we ended up. Looking a little bit better, I should say. There's a couple of little faults. If I'd have carried on, I could have had it more perfect than it is, but I'm happy with the stage it's at. It'll look good on the shelf, and that's the main point. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Take care out there, and bye for now. Catch you in the next vid. Tatty pie everyone, tatty pie.